Hey you guys, today I want to share with you one of the very first things I do with my clients, which is actually one of the most important things that you can do in all aspects of radical change. And this is especially relevant for those of you who has a spouse or a partner that's leaning out, or if you are really far from where your goals are, like what you want your marriage to look like. And that is the idea of holding the vision. We've talked about that a lot in here. Some of you have had questions about this. I talk about this all the time. We have to hold the vision. And I know a lot of you in here are wanting to honor your partner's need for space. You're wanting to accept that you might have different boundaries. Maybe you're leaning out, maybe you're ambivalent. But basically, when you're not on the same page, this can be particularly difficult. But it's super, super important. And what this means is holding the vision means staying really focused on your outcome. So what is it that you want? Focusing on what that is as opposed to noticing and reacting to what you don't want. It means thinking about what you want. It means visualizing it. It means living in that possibility without any angsty attachment, but just like this feeling of, wouldn't that be amazing? And feeling into this new vision. Then you're going to be taking the actions that will maximize the potential to create that vision. And holding the vision is really, that's what anyone who's ever created something new does, right? Because how else does a person who's had only abusive relationships end up in a healthy one? How can you create that if you've never had that? You have to know that it's possible, even though it hasn't happened yet. And, you know, they might have to use other people as an example. They might have to use their imagination and learn what the things are that constitute a healthy relationship and start implementing those and practicing those and picturing that, and then being around people, being drawn to people who are exhibiting that so that they can absorb that and live in that reality. That's so important. That's part of holding the vision. The other thing is they have to have faith, because you can't really go from here to there if you have always only known here if you don't have faith. And that requires spending only about 5 to 10% of the time noticing the problem and the things that you don't like and all the things that you're scared of, and 90 to 95% of the time taking actions and thinking thoughts towards your goal. And so this is not easy. Obviously, I hear a lot of people asking me, so how do I do that if I feel scared, or if I feel defeated, or if I just don't think I can do it, or if I feel like I'm not worthy of it or not even safe to try? And there's like 3 things that I recommend. Number 1 is that you have to first grieve where you're at without giving it too much meaning, because the present is just the leftovers of the past. It's just the residue of what's come before you, nothing more. But you want to feel the feelings without thinking thoughts or making meaning, and then moving through the fear and loss and regret or whatever the negative emotion is, just acknowledging that pain of I'm here and I want to be here. Then the second thing is you have to carve out time to sit down and actually imagine your goal. What would be happening? What would you see in your mind's eye? How are you moving? How are you speaking? What thoughts are you thinking? What do you hear? What is your spouse saying or doing? How are they looking at you? How are they holding their bodies? How would you feel when you reach that goal? And get really clear on that. And then the third thing is then you want to act as if you're already there, and think about the relationship and the excitement of getting ready for a date and all those feelings that you have when you start a relationship. Those come from the actions that you take and the way that you show up. At the beginning of a relationship, you have a beginner's mind. There's no baggage with the person. There's not a lot of judgment. There's no expectations. You're just showing up to create a beautiful experience in the present moment, getting ready for the best in life, whether that's enjoying a meal or going out in nature or having a nice conversation. And in this stage of transformation in marriage, you don't want to wait until you feel it. You have to act that way now, and then the feelings will come after. Actions transform consciousness, and we make the mistake of waiting for those feelings to come, but that's not how it works if you've been married for more than 10 years. The bottom line really is that you cannot wait until the conditions are right. You can't wait until you have guarantees to go for what you want in life, right? If you use the conditions of your present moment, then you're always only going to keep repeating the patterns that you're in, and you're not going to get anywhere. So holding the vision is really about breaking out of, or transcending, or freeing yourself from what isn't working, deciding what you want instead, and then stepping into intelligent action towards that vision. And that is vulnerable. It's risk-taking. There's no guarantees. We want to know that the other person's all in before we do that. But if you wait for something to appear before you can lean into it, then you're giving power to the forces that are outside of your control. It's much, much, much more powerful to create what you desire before it feels safe to do that. So if your spouse is leaning out and you're terrified, just let yourself have a good cry for a minute, fall apart, feel the fear, journal, get it out. And then go for what you want from a place of possibility and faith and strength, knowing that it is way better to fail trying and holding your vision than it is to fail because you feared you would fail. That actually doesn't make any sense, because then it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. It works both ways. So remember your courage, remember your commitment, remember why you're here, remember what is your why about all of this. And remember what you're made of, and think big. Don't shrink your vision to match your circumstances. You are meant for more than that, or you wouldn't even be here. So hopefully that will help clarify what I'm talking about when we talk about holding the vision in here. And please let me know if you have any questions about any of this stuff. And that's it for me. If you need support on this, you are welcome to book a call with me at monikahoyt.com/talk. I'll put the post below, or a comment with a link below. And in this conversation, we can talk about what your goals are, what's in the way, what's not working, and I'll make some recommendations based on your situation, your unique situation. But in the meantime, just hang in there, and thanks for listening. Keep the faith, and I'll see you next week.